Hi, in this tutorial we're going to look at inserting rows and columns and deleting rows and columns. Now this is an essential skill in Excel. You're going to wind up designing tables and putting information in and having to modify it. But luckily it's a very simple process. If I look at my table here, you can see that I've got some months of the year. This is the number of widgets that I've sold, my total revenue, and my total profit. And when I look at it, I notice that I go through June, but July and August are missing. So it's January through June, September through December. Okay, now to now insert July and August in this area, I need to select the row below which I want to insert the new row. And of course I do that by selecting the number of the row. Now that it's selected, I can right-click and say Insert, and the new row will appear above. So whatever row you have selected, it will always appear above. So if I do that again, I now have my two rows, and I can enter my information. Okay, great. Now what happens if I want to insert a column? So in this case I've included the number I've sold, my total revenue, my profit, but I really would like a column where I can quickly see what my cost was. Obviously I can calculate it from these two items, but I'd like to be able to see it, and I would like that column to be between B and C. So I'm going to select C by clicking on the letter C, and then I'm going to insert. And note that the column will always go to the left of what's selected. And the reason for that is very important. Is that what if I want a column before A? I click on A and I insert, and I would be able to get a column that preceded my old A. Let me undo that. Okay, so now I can put in my cost. It's kind of working backwards, but my cost equals my revenue minus my profit. And there we go. Now what happens, let me do this, if I've made a mistake, and I have too many rows, or I have more columns than I need. Again, you would select the row or column, you would right click, and you would hit delete. Let me undo that for a second. There's a difference between that and selecting the column and hitting the delete key on your keyboard. If you note, I just did that, and what it did is it erased the data. It did not actually get rid of the row. Okay, so, and if I wanted to get rid of a column, I could do the same thing. I could click, right click, and delete. Let me undo that. Occasionally you'll want to move a column. So perhaps I want my revenue before my cost for some reason. And one way to do that would be to select the column and cut it. Now it's loaded into computer memory. It hasn't yet disappeared from my screen. Now I'm going to click in the top cell of the column which I would like to come after my column. And if I right click, you're going to see it says Insert Cut Cells here, and it puts it in the correct place. Let me undo that for a second. Cut it again. You do have to be careful where you place your mouse. If I place my mouse somewhere, say down here, this is a little confusing. So when I go to insert my cut cells, it's going to give me an error. It's not the same size and shape, is what it's saying. So this is the entire length of the sheet. So if I click here, the same number of cells can't fit because I don't have enough space at the bottom of the sheet. What if I'd taken fewer cells? Oh. Notice I've still got this Insert Cut Cells here, so I've got to be careful. I'm going to cut those, and I'm going to insert them here. and it's asking me whether I want to shift cells up or down, so it's kind of confusing, and in most cases it's not what you want to do. So just make sure that if you're selecting from here that you're in the same relative position in the next column, and everything will work out. So that's really it. That's all there is to inserting and deleting rows and columns.